How y'all doing?
Some of y'all about to be real mad at me, but it must be said.
Hello, and welcome to T for PYTs, a channel where we will be focusing mainly on Michael Jackson related content. In this video, I'll be talking about a topic that isn't addressed enough. I'll be discussing the dark side of MJ fans, aka Moonwalkers. For the record, many MJ fans are really incredible people. However, other fans are extremely toxic. Not only do these toxic fans give other Moonwalkers a bad name, but also give Michael Jackson's legacy a bad name. This crazy toxic fan behavior has led many people to think that MJ fans are cultists, psychos, sycophants, conspiracy theorists, and bullies. Many also strongly believe that the fans are crazy, shallow, and brainwashed. This type of insane behavior by MJ stans has led to both MJ fans and non-MJ fans being repulsed. These MJ stans seriously give the fandom a terrible reputation. They need to take a look at themselves and make that change if they want to make the fandom a better place. Please note, this is in no way, shape, or form meant to be a hate video. So before you go flood the comment section with anger, just hear me out. If you do like this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Anyway, let's get into the video. The dictionary definition of the word idolize is to admire, revere, or love greatly or excessively. According to an article written by the Wildcat Tribune, it explains the difference between admiration and idolization. While admiration is normal and acceptable, idolization is extreme and not healthy at all. Saying that MJ fans idolize him is an understatement. Some fans actually think he's a god. Literally. Others think that he is completely flawless and perfect. Others say that he is an actual angel. Like the type of angel that's sent by God to save humanity. Others say that he was completely immune to any form of mistakes. Others think he is unparalleled to anyone else because of how perfect they think he is. Others insist that he is the greatest performer who has ever existed and will ever exist, and they insult and disrespect anyone who thinks otherwise. They don't seem to realize that having a favorite musician is a matter of opinion.
Really, bitch?
Because of this flawless view that fans have of him, it has made them completely obsessed. I swear it's like a cult. This type of behavior is not healthy at all. It's actually really sad if you think that your entire life and your entire world revolves around someone you never personally knew and will never get to know. This obsession and idolatry has reached a point where some fans are in denial about Michael, no matter how true. E.g., his plastic surgeries. Some claim MJ only had 2 nose jobs in his entire life, while others claim his changed appearance was due to aging. Another fan said that Michael only ever had 2 nose surgeries and 1 cleft chin surgery. They also say that the reason why MJ looked so different is because of illnesses like lupus. Hate to break it to you, sis, but lupus didn't make MJ's nose small, surgery did.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Before you'll get angry and misunderstand what I'm saying, let me clarify this. I am not saying that Michael didn't have lupus. I know he did. But what I am saying is that it is basically impossible for a nose to shrink in size and change in shape because of lupus. Now, I am a Michael Jackson fan, but I will admit, he definitely had more than 2 surgeries. He had less than what the tabloids portrayed, but had much more than what he claimed. MJ said he only had 2 nose surgeries and 1 chin surgery, which is obviously untrue. If you say that Michael had more than 2 surgeries, these fans will insult you and call you a hater. A hater for telling the truth. What? They are in so much disbelief about this, because they want to view Michael as a perfect angel. These fans cannot comprehend that Michael literally lied about having had only 2 surgeries.
You know, you physically changed, haven't you? The photographs of you, if I look at them.
No, it's called adolescence. It's called growing and changing.
Yeah, but even the shape of your face has changed.
No, it's not. I've had no plastic surgery on my face, just my nose. It helped me breathe better so I can hit higher notes and have clearer. The press is like to add on all this stuff. Nothing's been done to my eyes, cheekbones, chins, lips, nothing.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop your fucking lying.
Michael really gaslighted everyone in this interview. And the fans actually believe his words to this day. It doesn't take an expert to clearly see that he had more than 2 surgeries. Yet another situation that fans have completely refused to accept is the fact that MJ bleached his skin. Before you get angry and misunderstand my words, yes, I know MJ had vitiligo. But at the same time, yes, he did technically bleach his skin. He was using Benequin. Yes, it is FDA approved. But nonetheless, it is still a skin bleaching agent. And yet, MJ went on to lie about not bleaching his skin.
There, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those. You are not taking anything to change the color of your skin.
Oh, God, no.
You did not.
I don't bleach my skin.
His fans were fed with lies, and they just ate all these lies up. Fans will even Photoshop pictures of MJ with exaggerated levels of vitiligo, just to prove that he never bleached his skin. It's the denial for me. Guys, MJ was human. He could lie just like the rest of us. Another situation that fans constantly deny, the baby dangling incident. Some fans still defend Michael's actions to this day for what he did, saying that he was the victim in this situation. What the frick? I am a huge Michael fan and I love him a lot, but I will say that this was definitely not one of his smartest choices, and it was extremely careless of him to do so. Let's just admit it and call a spade a spade. Some fans also have a very annoying tendency to victim shame anyone who isn't Michael, and one of the victims of this toxic trait is none other than Miss Janet Jackson. When she was releasing her 2020 documentary, one fan commented, "What do you think about Janet's statements about Michael's offenses regarding her weight? I am very disappointed with her. What the actual frick?" Other fans have commented saying that Janet was being too sensitive about the comments that Michael used to make about her weight when she was a child. They are practically excusing Michael's insensitive comments and blaming Janet for feeling hurt by her brother's words. But here's the funny part. MJ fans have completely demonized Michael's brothers for making fun of his nose when he was young. But when Michael body shames his baby sister, which caused her to experience body insecurity later in life, somehow that's okay. I guarantee that this is the exact way that fans view Michael when they look at him. It is extremely weird that fans believe Michael is literal perfection. So much so, that if anything remotely negative is said about him, they will believe that it is a lie. Why is it that they view him as so superhuman, that even Janet giving an account of her childhood with Michael is seen as a lie? All because Janet tells a story of Michael being a normal human with flaws. Can you imagine being disappointed with Janet, who was the victim of body shaming by Michael, all because her story doesn't align with what you think Michael was? You'll think you know Michael better than his own sister. LMAO. The truth is that Michael was a good person, but he was far from perfect. He was a normal person like everyone else. Not a god, not an angel. I don't think fans understand how this image that they have of Michael is very toxic. It takes away from Michael's humanity. He was talented, but he was bound to make mistakes like any other human being. Michael Jackson was indeed an incredibly good-looking person. He has the most beautiful smile in the world. No, seriously, search it up. Anyway, there is no problem in finding him attractive. I mean, he was attractive. There is nothing wrong in acknowledging his good looks in a normal, respectable way. The problem comes when fans objectify him, which is creepy, disturbing, and straight up disgusting. And to make it worse, these nasty fan edits pop up on every MJ fan site you can imagine. It is corrupting the fan base. You could be looking up something wholesome and innocent about Michael Jackson, and then, out of nowhere, some nasty fan edits pop up.
Y'all make me sick!
I can't believe that there are people that would do something like this. It's so sick and twisted.
That's so sad! Are you not ashamed of yourself?
Stop it. Get some help.
There are actually no words to describe how disgusting and cringeworthy these edits are. Michael would turn over in his grave if he knew that some of his fans are portraying him as a sex tool, and only pay attention to his eggplant, and are perverting the fandom with their sickening sexual fantasies. Now, let me just say that if Michael was a woman, this would be super unacceptable. If the roles were reversed and these weird thirsty fangirls were men objectifying a female Michael, the fans would instantly be cancelled for this. Why do female moonwalkers think sexualizing Michael is okay? Can you imagine if male fans went around making TikTok edits centered around a woman's private parts? That would be absolutely disgusting. Same as this situation. There is really no exception. The same way it's super gross for men to sexualize women is the same way that this is just as wrong. And these nasty perverted fans were actually defending their behavior. What the actual frick? They were basically saying that the fans who find this offensive are too soft and childish. Bitch, please. If you cannot control yourself when a man has something as normal as a boner, then you're the childish one who needs to grow up.
And that's on period.
If you objectify MJ, stop this pathetic shit. In the wise words of Michael Jordan, stop it, get some help.
That shit is so disrespectful! So disrespectful!
Michael Jackson experienced a lot of tragedy in life. He went through so much, beginning from his childhood days all the way into adulthood. Feelings of empathy for him are completely normal and practically inevitable. However, his army of worshippers take it way too far, and instead of empathy, they take extreme pity on him. To a point where they treat him like a baby. I swear, these fans talk about him like he's a helpless, lost kitten. They will call him a victim for just about everything. Even when he was being asked questions in interviews that he consented to give.
I don't want this to sound insulting. I'm just going to be straight with you. But you are somewhat eccentric, to say the least. the way you dress, the way you look.
Did you start having plastic surgery because of those teen years, because of not liking the way you look?
How do you feel when they call you
Wacko Jacko?
Do you go out? Do you date? Who do you date?
Do you know any other man your age, a 45-year-old man who shares his bedroom with children?
Of course. Not for sex.
Wait, are you a virgin? Is your skin lighter because you don't like being black? How much plastic surgery have you had?
Very, very little.
What is a 36-year-old man doing sleeping with a 12-year-old boy?
There are those who would say that you add to the attention.
No, I don't.
Well, the masks, the mysterious behavior.
No.
So, if you were innocent, why would you pay?
I will say, out of all the questions asked, the only one that was actually disturbing and disgusting was Oprah asking MJ if he was a virgin. What the actual frick? That is weird AF. How are you going to ask him an invasive question like that? His sex life is a private affair. But I wouldn't expect better from a slithering serpent like Oprah.
Snake. I'm a snake. I'm a snake.
Yes, Oprah is a pathetic bitch. However, if it wasn't for Oprah's 1993 interview, nobody would have ever known about MJ's vitiligo. It would have continued to be a mystery as to why his skin color changed. That was the first time Michael ever talked about his condition. Besides, MJ literally consented to the Oprah interview. Literally, the whole point of that entire interview was for people to get to know the man behind the King of Pop image. It was for the public to understand who he was as a person, and not just as a performer. He had a very weird image to the public at the time, especially with his drastic change in skin tone and facial features. So that interview was to make people understand what was going on. MJ always had an elusive character. This made him so hard to understand. Him staying away from interviews made people very curious, so of course people had questions to ask him. Imagine if someone's appearance and complexion completely changed. Of course you would be intrigued, curious, worried, and concerned. And of course you would want to know the cause of all this change. That's how the public felt. And that's why the interviewers asked these questions, to address to the curiosities of the people. Some of your fans are acting this defensive, because you now already know the answer to MJ's changed appearance and complexion. But picture yourselves in 1988, and you saw MJ's skin and face change that much, with no explanation whatsoever. Of course you would also have questions. Michael had not done an interview in 14 whole years. A lot had changed in that amount of time. In the Oprah interview, she was basically asking the questions that the public had for him for the past 14 years. Michael knew he needed to redeem his strange image to the public. That's exactly why he sat for that interview. He knew what he was doing. He was not a victim. Michael Jackson once said that the reason why people judge him is because they don't know him. But he rarely gave people an opportunity to get to know him better. He literally spent over a decade shutting himself away from the world. And as much as Oprah is a sleazy snake, I will honestly say that she was not disrespectful in the interview, except for that weird virgin question. She was only asking him questions that the fans had for him. So if anyone was disrespectful, it was the fans, because the questions literally came from them. And what was so wrong about him being asked about his connection with children? I love MJ, but ordinarily, it would be odd to see a grown man spending that much time with the children of absolute strangers. I'm not saying that MJ is guilty at all. I know he was framed, but most times, famous people with that amount of power and fame tend to do things that aren't so nice. So you can't blame the public for initially having their doubts, and you certainly cannot blame the interviewers for asking these types of questions. It was a concerning issue, so it needed to be well addressed. And now as a result, there is proof that he was indeed innocent. Just like with the Oprah interview, the 1995 Diane Sawyer interview was once again a chance for Michael to redeem himself from the negative view the public had of him. The entire point of the interview was to talk about the false allegations, as well as to talk about the fact that fans believed his first marriage was not real. Just like the Oprah interview, these questions were coming from the fans. The type of questions that fans are calling disrespectful, yet these questions literally came from them. Fans hate Diane Sawyer, saying that she was too harsh and judgmental in this interview. Yet, ironically, when this interview was done, she was criticized for being too soft on Michael. I know Diane Sawyer isn't the nicest person, but I will say, she did a good job in this interview. I like that she addressed the issue as it was. She wasn't acting enamored and fangirling over being in Michael's presence. She was extremely objective in this interview. She did what she was supposed to do. Her job, which is to interview. And once again, Michael was not a victim of this interview. He knew what the interview was going to be about, and he consented to it. He took the interview with the intention of trying to clear the negative view the public had of him, so that he could promote his new history album. I do 100% agree that the press is extremely invasive and annoying. I understand why celebrities are always running away from them. And I do agree completely that Michael deserved his privacy. But as a public figure, it was not his smartest choice to avoid doing interviews. The elusive image that he was trying to portray backfired severely. Doing an interview would not mean that his entire life would be exposed. It also wouldn't make people less interested in his music. It would just make him better understood to the public. Janet Jackson, for example, has done plenty of interviews throughout her career, yet has successfully managed to keep her personal life super private, even more private than Michael's. The interviews made her seem approachable and relatable to people. To be honest, in a way, Michael was his own enemy by refusing to do interviews. This honestly made him appear to be super strange, even though he wasn't. But fans don't seem to understand that. They constantly pity him like he's a wounded animal or a sick child. He was a grown man. Why are y'all emasculating him? These fans really be out here saying that MJ is the most mocked and humiliated man in history. So are we just going to forget what Jesus went through? Some other fans act so self-righteously, as if they are not intrigued with MJ's life, and keep judging people who talk about or address certain things about MJ, such as his changing skin, plastic surgeries, etc. They tell others, "What does it matter to you?" Or say shit like, "Will it add anything to your life if you know how many plastic surgeries he had?" But like, why do you watch these videos in the first place if you don't care? It's the hypocrisy for me. With the exception of Michael, the other members of the Jackson family get disrespected by some Moonwalkers. But none of the members have experienced being ostracized as much as LaToya Jackson has. The things that they say about LaToya are absolutely disgusting and extremely abusive. It's the fact that Moonwalkers think they honoring Michael by being hostile and disrespectful to his sister. You know, for a fandom that preaches about spreading peace and love, that is pure hypocrisy. All this hatred over something that she did literally 30 years ago. She accused Michael of harming children in 1993, and it was very much against her own will. She was abused by her ex-husband and forced to say these things. Some asshole actually had the audacity to comment that they don't believe for 1 second that LaToya went through abuse in the 90s. This bitch-ass further says that the only reason that LaToya made those accusations against Michael was out of jealousy and wanting to be relevant. Can you imagine being such a piece of shit? That you think that it is okay to completely invalidate the traumatic abuse that LaToya went through, all in the name of attempting to honor Michael.
No ma'am. No ma'am. No,
And these disgusting moonwalkers, who think they are actual MJ fans, have the audacity to openly mock and ridicule LaToya for her appearance. But dare say anything about Michael's surgery to these bullies. Absolute hypocrisy. To all the people who think it's okay to invalidate LaToya's abuse experience, please never forget what you truly are.
A fucking clown. We are a stupid bitch. We are a fucking clown.
LaToya grew up super religious and sheltered as a Jehovah's Witness. She only had connections within her family and was not used to outsiders. She was tired of her controlling father, who had practically forced her to become a performer. Her father was also her manager at the time. She wanted to get a new manager, who have less dominance over her. Jack Gordon was one of her father's friends, and wanted to be LaToya's manager. She initially believed that Jack would be a breath of fresh air from her tyrannical father. She was naive and genuinely believed that he wanted to help her thrive in her career. It's very unfortunate, because she went from a bad situation with her father, to a catastrophic situation with Jack. This man had malicious plans with her. It is so obvious that many moonwalkers do not understand the psychology behind an abusive relationship. Jack loved the fact that LaToya was so naive and sheltered, and he exerted dominance and intimidation as a way to control her. He would make dangerous threats saying that he would kill her siblings. And he did actually have criminal connections. This made her become brainwashed by fear, and she became submissive to his disgusting demands, including falsely accusing Michael of harming children at the time. Not forgetting how crazy the power dynamic was. He was 17 years older than her, and he was also much wealthier, so he used his position of power as a way to further oppress her. And for those moonwalkers who say she should have just left, are just proving their ignorance. It is so hard to just leave when someone has taken full control over you, and is not only threatening your life, but also threatening the life of your loved ones. And the fact that he had criminal connections made her fear only worse. But thankfully, she was able to break away from his grip, and she did leave him, for good, in 1996. She is yet another woman who has unfortunately experienced severe domestic abuse. If it wasn't for her disgrace of an ex-husband, you can best believe that she would have never said those rumors about MJ. Can moonwalkers finally stop blaming LaToya, the victim of abuse, and instead blame Jack, the abuser? He's the one who came up with those rumors in the first place. I swear, the anger is so misplaced. If you have to be angry at someone, be angry at Jack. But instead, you'll take out your anger on the wrong person. The dumb bitch energy is really strong. And for those clowns who still think that LaToya was never abused by Jack Gordon, how much more proof do you people need? There are pictures of her with a bruised face. And there is literally video proof of Jack getting arrested for being abusive. It's so stupid that to this day, she's still greatly disrespected, despite defending Michael ever since her divorce. In a 2005 interview, LaToya said, "I love my brother. Michael is one of the sweetest persons on this earth. You have no idea. He is so misunderstood." She was also very supportive of Michael during the 2005 trial, and attended the court sessions. She was there for him and stood by him. Michael had already forgiven LaToya ages ago, and they stayed in touch after the 2005 trial, until his untimely demise in 2009. Even after Michael tragically passed away, LaToya has consistently remained a strong defender of Michael. She defended him once again in a 2009 Barbara Walters interview.
He gave me this piece of paper and he says, "Read this." He goes, "You better say this, you say this."
Jack Gordon forced you to say that your brother was a pedophile. Did you think he was?
No, I did not. The courts have proven that too as well.
Why did Jack Gordon want you to say that your brother was a pedophile?
He had this hatred towards my brother that I can never explain to you why it was.
Just to make things very clear, you recanted your accusation. Are you sure today that your brother never had any undue relationship with a child.
Barbara, Michael is not. He is not.
He is not a
pedophile. No, he's not.
Michael and LaToya were super close growing up. They were one of the last siblings to move out of their childhood home. Unfortunately, their great sibling relationship came crashing down after LaToya moved out and got pressured to marry Jack Gordon. Yes, it wasn't right for LaToya to have said what she said about Michael, but it wasn't something she did intentionally. And Michael did forgive her. If Michael could forgive LaToya, why shouldn't the Moonwalkers?
So there you go. I said what I said, and I meant what I said because I said what I said. Period.